Good morning everyone, Anuj Habra here. Sorry for not making videos for last 2 weeks, got busy with some of my works. So today I thought why not discuss something about a topic which is really very much important, and most of us we tend to forget that aspect, and after taking so much care also in our garden, somehow that success level is not happening. So what's that all about? So when we talk about a normal health of the soil or the plant, means whatever we are growing, the plant is really healthy with no signs of any deficiencies. Now what happens, suppose all the nutrients, everything whatever we have given it in our soil, to some extent our plant is not able to absorb everything from the soil. Why? When the phosphorus is there, potassium is there, sulfur is there, everything we have given in different forms, so that is not being able to you can say absorbed by the plant. So that part which makes these nutrients available to our plants, you can say as a messenger or a courier person who takes all these nutrition and makes it available to a plant. The main ingredient is calcium. So what happens, sometimes if the soil is you can say deprived of calcium, so all these whatever the micro and macronutrients we are giving it to our soil, those are not being available to the plant. Like the product is ready, the customer is ready, but in between the courier service is not there, so it is not reaching to the correct place. So how do we do that? So first we should understand what calcium plays a role apart from transporting the nutrients to the soil. Basically calcium is needed by the plant to have new growth in the you can say the plant, that can be in the form of roots or the new shoots or the tip of the shoots where the new leaves come. So anything new growth is connected to calcium, and after the growth is done, all the nutrients whatever is required for the further growth, that is only possible when the calcium is there in the soil. So how do we give nutrition or the calcium to the soil? So basically the soil whatever we make, the compost what we make, so in that the eggshells what we use, those are the real good source of calcium. So most people what they do is they just crush the eggshells and then they put it around the plant. So what happens, whenever the eggshells are being broken, they take a real long time to get decomposed and to get absorbed by the soil, and then the nutrients, the calcium taken from that eggshells and available to the plant. It's a long process, and during that process only it is eaten by either any of the insects, your birds, your ants, so all that they eat those eggshells. Sometimes people dry the eggshells, powder it, and then they spread it around the plant. That is also okay, but that also does not you can say is not available directly to the plants. So the best practice is to, whenever you want calcium content in your compost, so try breaking your eggshells or the eggshell powder and put it in your composting bin. So by the time your compost is getting ready, it is automatically rich in calcium. So as and when we are giving the compost to the plant, the plant is also getting calcium. Now one more thing is, whenever you put this eggshells directly to the soil, in most of our containers we have earthworms in them. Okay, so the edges of that eggshells, they are really sharp, and the skin of the earthworms are really very soft and you can say slimy kind of a thing. So they tend to get hurt from those sharp edges of the eggs. So try avoiding eggshells ever to the pot. This will save your plant from ants also, and make it a habit of putting eggshells to your composting bin only. So that is the one source of calcium. Now apart from that, the easiest and very easily available, you can say, the source is lime or the tuna. what we get in our beetle shop or pan shop. So from there we can have it. This also, there are two ways of using. One, again you can put it in the compost, this much, this kind of a bottles it comes, or it comes in a powdered form. So generally 2 to 3 teaspoon per bucket of your compost you can add it, or if you have not added that time, you can add it when you are making your potting mix. So for approximately, you can say a 12 inches pot, whenever you are making a potting mix, in that you can add 2 to 3 teaspoon of lime. So this is a very rich source of calcium, and when we add this in the soil, again it is not directly, you can say immediately available to the plant. It will take some time to get decomposed and then in the available form to the plants. A very simple example I'll give. Suppose we go to the market, we buy vegetables, we buy pulses, rice, everything, but as soon as we buy them, whenever I'm feeling hungry, I just cannot have them. I need to process it, or I need to cook them, steam it, whatever the process is there, whatever I have got it. So it has to be converted in that form, so my body can accept it. The same thing, if we are giving this or any other nutrition to the plant, it is not easily available. It has to be converted in the edible form for the plant. So all these process is done with the help of microorganisms. So make sure all your time your soil should be rich with microorganisms, which can only be done with the help of all the manures, the dung based manures, whatever we keep adding, compost, your jivamrita or your ghana jivamrita, composted cow dung, farmyard manure, whatever is there, try keeping feeding your soil regularly with that. So if the soil is rich in manures, so all these things automatically will be available to your plants gradually as they decompose. Now what happens whenever we have taken all the care, that's what I was telling you, when we can understand the deficiency of calcium is there. Now suppose you have not given this to your soil, and even the eggshells you have not used. So some people are there who are vegetarian, who don't use eggshells. So what is the alternative for them as a source of calcium? If you don't want to use lime stone, if you don't want to use eggshells, then what is the next option? So the next option is your seaweed liquid. Seaweed fertilizer is basically, it's an algae, you can say, which is collected from the sea, which is dried, processed and available either in the form of powder or mostly in the form of liquid, which is a very rich source of calcium, at the same time micro and macronutrients. So whenever you see your plant, after a long time giving all the care, still the growth is stunted, means new shoots are not coming, or if you are doing repotting thinking that the soil is old enough or the root bound problem has come. So whenever you repot and you see that the new roots are also not developing, the tips of the roots are drying, and sometimes the tip of your plants here, the new shoots are not doing that or not performing that well, that's a clear indication that your soil is lacking in calcium. So seaweed fertilizer is there. People who are fine by with using of bone meal fertilizers, that also you can give. That again you cannot give directly because it takes time in getting decomposed, and if you put it directly on the pot, again these birds and all, they'll come, rodents will get attracted because of the smell of that bones meal. So try putting them in the compost or in the potting mix itself. So gradually when they decompose, your plant is ready with that food whatever it needs. Now what happens, as I told you, when the deficiency is there of the calcium, apart from the new growth, the other nutrition, your phosphorus, magnesium, sulfur, like that many are there, potassium, which are not available to the plant in the absence of calcium. So what are those symptoms? So we can see our plant having a pale color, or sometimes these kind of veins in a darker color with the plant, the leaves in the lighter color. Sometimes the edges of the leaves are pale. It was very difficult for me to search these leaves. One or two I could search, so I am just showing you. Yeah, sometimes these tomato plants, they become little like this purplish. Okay, So these are all the indications of deficiencies which generally whenever we show it to our friends or whoever is doing the gardening, so as soon as they see this, they'll tell either it's a iron deficiency or it's a magnesium deficiency or it's a sulfur deficiency. So what happens, immediately we try to add either Epsom salt or we can add NPK or something or the other we try putting. But even after adding that, this problem doesn't solve, means the plant required calcium. So this is a very easy thing to be understood, that whenever you make a potting mix, try adding little lime, and excess of lime also is not good because that changes the pH of the soil. That one more topic is there that I'll take in next video. So this is as I told you, for a 12 inches pot, if mostly whatever the vegetables we grow, 12 inches whatever I'm keeping at the back of me, so that is 12 inches basically. So that's an ideal for growing vegetables. So in that much quantity, one of this, or if spoon wise if you want to measure, 2 to 3 teaspoon is more than enough. Try mixing it well and let the plant grow. When and where you can say initially it does not need much, gradually when the plant is growing and it needs calcium, by that time this calcium will be available to our plants. So thank you for joining me. Keep watching. Thank you.